Welcome to video number 2 for Faith Windows number 24, which is called Patient Perseverance. The first video, I showed you what the kit looks like and we made our journal. And in this video, I'm going to show you how we are going to make our inserts. This is what the video number 1 ended with. We have made our beautiful, envelope style junk journal cover. I showed you how to make these really nice button closures. We added one of the pieces of the words from the ephemera kit to our little tag, and that's hanging on there. So let's get into what we're going to put in the inside. What I would like to do is I'm going to follow a couple other things that I've made before in the past. And one of them is, let me show you, from my Gracious Green waterfall envelope journal that I made a few months ago. I'm going to take the same clues and we're going to build an insert that will be sewn in with a 3-hole pamphlet stitch that will be a waterfall horizontally. It's not vertically, it's just going to be a horizontal. And then we are going to add this extended piece like that you can add notes and things, and I left it open as a pocket. So that's what my template tells me to start with. So let's get ours over here. What I've done is I've taken 2 of the pieces of the horizontal papers and I've glued them together, and then I've folded it. Okay. Now you could print this, print one of the designs on the back of a page. You would want to print it on a little bit heavier paper. This is just 24-pound paper. And I like to glue them together. It gives a little bit more strength to something when I'm making it. And how do you make this? You basically make sure it's double-sided. You're going to fold it in half. You're going to fold that edge back to here and this edge back over to here. Okay, and then that's how you've got it. And what we're going to do is it's going to be, oh, I did it weird again. I had it all fixed. And now I've played around with it. And what did I do differently? Okay, that's the way it's going to be. Because it's going to be on this side. That's what we're going to do. So it's going to open this way. Okay. So once you get that all folded, then you'll know how to do it. So I wanted to show you how to fold that. I'm going to round the corners and edge everything, but I wanted to show you how to make the inserts. Then the next part is we are going to make a horizontal waterfall. I'm going to have a slight vertical waterfall, meaning it's going to be irregular. So what I've done for this is I went and did the same thing. I picked some papers and I glued them back to back so that they were nice and sturdy. And then once you do that, you want to pick which paper you want to be your cover, okay? Because that's what you're going to see first in the journal. So I decided, and why did I decide that? And I'll show you in a second. Now look, that's going to be covered up. But I wanted to do this paper again, and I folded it, and I went, oh, wait, that's the exact same. So you want to do different paper so that it draws your eye in, okay? So this is going to be my first piece. And basically what you do is there's really no measurement in this. It's just kind of, I fold, okay? You look at it and you fold it. So I will tell you how far I went in. This one's wider than this one. See the difference? This one I only made like 2.5, and this one I made 3 1/4. So again, nothing's wrong. Just do whatever you feel like. So you fold the one side, and then don't fold this until you decide what the width is going to be. So once I got that in here, then let's just move this out of the way for a second. Then I realized, okay, I don't want it to be, right up against here because then it would never close. Then I folded it in, okay? And so we've got that all nice and folded. Let me just make sure it's like that. Okay, so that's my first piece. Then you take your second piece. Now for me, I love to add vintage music paper. So hopefully you have some. If you don't, it's okay. You can go ahead and use your double-sided paper. You can use all 3 the same. I just like to add some interest. So how do you make this one? If you have this folded like that, what I do is I take my piece of next piece of paper, and I kind of lay it on the top, and then I see where the fold is, and I want the second piece to be over just a little bit so that it shows. Do you see how quick and easy that goes like that? Okay. And then I folded this in to match so that it's all the same on that side. My third piece, this is, if you have any tracing paper or vellum, that's exactly what this is. And all I do is I lay a whole bunch of these vellum sheets out, and I take some of my distress spray stains. I just spray them a little bit, mop a little bit off, and I let them dry. And so this one has some of the green that's in the kit, and so I thought that would look good. So I did the exact same thing here. I went over here and I went, okay, well, I want about a ½ inch. Now you could measure all this. I don't measure. I just like it to be by eye. And then I folded it. Then I would insert it there, right? Now we left the music paper taller, right? My vellum is about the same height as the music paper. So it's going to be level right there. So you see how the first 3 pieces go in so nice? The next piece for me is one of the pieces that I've glued together. And on this one, I basically just folded it totally in half. And then there's my, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have 4 in my waterfall, okay? We do 7 verses in this kit. So to me, you only need about 8 or maybe 9 spots to put your notes. And so when you get to this part, because it was folded in half, you don't have to do any folding on there. I wanted to add a window envelope. Why do I add window envelopes? These are Faith windows. And when I started this 24 kits ago, I was using used junk mail window envelopes that came in the mail to me, right? And then I've gone ahead and I've bought some because they're never the right size, or I don't have the one that I need when I'm making my journal. So anyway, these are purchased. But what I wanted to do was put that in there because we're looking through the window into our faith. And so we're going to put something in there. So this is the one that I chose. It's a really large opening. And what I did was I went ahead and glued it closed. Now you'll notice it's upside down because that's the way I wanted it to be. So it's going to be in there like that. And I folded it just so it met the edge. And once we cover this, then I will do a thumb notch here and we'll have some inserts in there. And then I will have an insert in here, and then we'll be covering the back. Okay. And then the next, so when you flip it over, I also, again, deliberately chose my paper so that this would be a full page that I wanted to see the crane, because the crane is part of perseverance in our topic. There's the back of that. There's the back of that. And I folded this way. And what we'll do is we'll close this up with glue on the top, and then that will be a pocket. And then there's our other pocket, which we can do the same thing and put a thumb notch. Okay. So how many pieces do I actually have in my waterfall? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and an envelope. Now, if you don't have any envelopes, that's okay. Go ahead and use another piece of paper. You need 5 spots because that translates to 10 when you put it out. Like, and here's what I'm saying. So now I would not put the first verse on the cover. What I would do is open this, and so I would have number 1 here, and then I would use these 2 parts. So there's number 1. That would be number 2, and I'd have some information over here. This will be number 3, and this part 2. Then this will be 4, and all of that would be number 4. Then we're going to turn that over. This will be the 5th verse. This will be the 6th verse. That's the 7th verse. And then we've got room for notes. Okay, so that's how that works out. I will be right back. I'm going to do some corner rounding, do some edging, and then I will show you how we are going to insert this. Now let me show you real quick before I go away. This is what it's going to look like so far. Okay, so I've got everything folded so that that folds over. And you want to make sure you read what your music says. You don't want to, well, old music is typically Christian music anyway. So I think that's really pretty the way it looks. Okay, that's what we're going to do next. So before we sew in our signature, we need to cover this because this is actually going to get sewn in and you would never be able to cover it after you sew it in. So we're going to quickly do some gluing and covering and get this envelope all ready for, oh, whoa, that's weird. This is what I don't like about this glue. It's actually too soft. Pritt can be a little bit stiff. This is so soft. Look at how much you waste because I'm like, whoa, okay. So let's put that there. Make sure I got it up at the top. So I glue and then I trim. I do not trim and then glue because I invariably didn't measure right or it doesn't line back up, and then I got a wasted paper. So glue and cut. That's what I do. Okay, so we've got that. That's our cover. Let's make sure I got that folded right. Yeah, there we go. And then in here, do we want to put this other one? Oh, wow. It would actually be really pretty, wouldn't it? Or do we want to do something different? Maybe we put the music in here, and we can actually come all the way over to the edge, which would make it much simpler. Let's do that. Okay, so what I do in covering my window envelopes, and I've been doing this for a long time now. You can watch any of my videos where I put a window envelope. See how they round the window? Well, I don't try and round anything. I've seen women that try to do that, crafters, and that just does not work for me. It is way too much work as far as I'm concerned. So what I do is I just go over slightly and kind of square it off. And it just makes it a whole lot easier. Okay, so we got that. You're going to really enjoy this Bible study. I have gotten so much out of it just by writing it, and it's going to be fun going through the verses with you and seeing what God is telling us and what does perseverance really look like. How do I allow that to abound in my life type of a thing? It's going to be really good. So maybe what we do is we put this little piece there. That would work. Let's go ahead and do that. So what I've done all year is I've done at least one faith window a month. And this is for October. I'm not going to do one in November. There's a reason, a real specific reason why we're not going to do that. Okay, you know what? I need to trim this. I'm not going to do one in November because Debbie and I are doing a really great Bible study in our Facebook group. And I don't want you to get caught up. I don't want to put a kid out that nobody does. That's kind of dumb because I'm, telling you, oh, let's do this other project. So our project for November is going to be Psalm 136. We are going to look at that as a gratitude mercy study. I think you will really enjoy it. If you were part of our Exploring Joy in July, then you kind of know how God has put Debbie and I together, and we make a gorgeous kit. We're only going to have one kit this time, not two. And let's see, what am I trying to say here? No, we're going to put it right there. And it's going to be a really good study for November. Okay, not 23 days. No. We're making this really simple. It's going to be much simplified. And you'll be hearing about it in the next couple of weeks. So I don't want to share more than that, just to let you know. Keep your time open for a gratitude Thanksgiving type of project that we are going to do in our Facebook group. Okay. Now I think I want to go back and use the rest of this on the back of it. I think that would look really good. So let's go ahead and put the glue there. And then we will be ready to sew this in. So if you, hopefully you know how to do a pamphlet stitch. If you don't, I'm going to show you. I'm getting much better because I'm basically forcing myself to do it a lot. You know, it's hard. The first time you do something and then you don't really understand it or whatever. I think I've gotten to the place where now I can do it really, really quick. That little project that I did a few weeks ago where I was using the old blue upholstery pieces and making mini journals. They were almost every one of them was sewn in with the pamphlet stitch. Oh, didn't that come out pretty, pretty, pretty? Yes. Oh, I love it. Look, and see how nice that looks, the way it's going to be in there like that. Yes. Okay, let me get all this put away. Let's get that edged up and punched before we do anything else. Where is my punch? Here we go. Okay, so I think I want to do a thumb notch there. Okay, that worked. Yes, that works good. So let's get that edged. And I think that looks good. I think that is ready. Okay. So the first thing that you want to do before you start getting your needle out is you want to get some big paper clips. You need something, whatever you use, to hold all your pages together in the exact spot that you want. Okay, so remember when I said we're playing with a little bit of vertical. There's some pieces that are taller than other pieces, so that part's okay. And I think we got this looking pretty good that way. Okay, so before I put these on, I do this one more time. I really make sure I burnish the folds, because if you didn't burnish it and go to sew it down, it's not going to lay as flat as you really want it to. And so I find just doing this real quickly really ensures a much better fit into my journal. And then that would be just like that. And you couldn't see, but I could see there was quite a few spots that just really needed that little bit of burnishing. Now I'm putting this in the envelope in the middle because with a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, I'm only going to be able to catch it in the middle. I'm not going to be able to catch it on the ends because it's not wide enough, right? So now you want to look at it from this perspective and this perspective. And I think I'm happy with that. So when I'm happy with it, what I do is I use these wonderful giant paper clips. They're in my Amazon shop if you want to get some. They have proven to be, they've really helped me with my pamphlet stitch, to be honest, because they hold it in place. I don't have to worry about it. They're inexpensive too. Okay, now this one we can't, well, we're going to try and put it in there. I'll put it underneath. Maybe that one will catch, and then we can catch it under this one too. So let's make sure that we get it right in our fold, and then we've caught it on both ways. Okay, so that's going to be in the middle like that. And then look, I can catch it here too. So that works. That works there. It doesn't really catch it as much this direction. Maybe we'll go this direction instead. There we go. I feel like that might be better. Maybe we do the same thing over here. And then that way we've got it really nice and ready. Okay, so I'll be right back. Let me get my needle and my waxed thread, and we're going to sew it into here on this left side is where we're going to put it. Okay, we're going to go right in there. See how nice that's going to look? Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I have pushed it into the cover, and I've added some more paper clips so that it's in the crease, right? And that it fits, and I pulled everything out of the way. So I'm pretty happy with exactly where I have it. I think that works. It's a little bit closer to here, a little bit more space there. That works great. And I am not measuring it. I usually measure everything. I'm not going to do it. We're just going to eyeball it to the center. And you want it, I'm going to try and show you. I'm going to close this a little bit because you want it at an angle so that when you go through, you actually end up, and I'm perfect. Look, right in the fold. That's where I want it. And I go through a few times to make it really large. And then we're going to come over here, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. If you see how I did it again, it worked out perfect. Okay, you have to have it at an angle. You don't open it all the way up and lay it flat, which is, I think, probably was some of my problems when I first tried to do this. I think I didn't have it angled right. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So this one's going to be about right here. So I'm going to do the same thing. There we go. And we got it all the way through. Yay, Diane, you got it all the way through. Okay, so we've got our 3 holes. They are ready to go. I'm going to use white. This is, excuse me, waxed linen thread. And so I think we might have some dangles. So let's go 1, 2, 3, and we're going to do 4 with a little bit more. It's always better to have extra that you can cut off than to do all that and then realize it's too short. Okay, I've got my big needle. Now hopefully I can do this with my bum finger here. So let's see. No, actually, I realized, you know what? I don't want dangles. Why do you not want dangles, Diane? Because we have dangles in the very middle. So I don't want any dangles at all. Okay, so what that means is I'm going to start on the inside. If you start on the inside, your tails are going to be on the inside. If you start on the outside, they're on the outside. Okay, so just think of that. So in your first middle hole, we're going to go through. You leave some there, and then you're going to come up. Doesn't matter if you go to the top or to the bottom. You're just going to go into your next hole. There we go. And I went right through. I'm making this look so easy today. Awesome. Because I had such a difficult time. It took forever in some of my older videos. You would be bored. But you're not going to be bored today. Uh-oh, look, I got it caught on something. There we go. Okay, let's pull that through. Okay, and so we've got, there's our tail. I'm going to tighten it a little bit. Now we're going to go back. This is the one trick. You have to be careful. You want to go in the hole, and this is why you want your hole to be large, but you don't want to go through the thread that's already there. You need to go to the side of it in the hole, because otherwise you split the thread and then it doesn't really work. Okey-doke. So there we go. And look, you can't hardly even see it, which is even better. Okay, I'm going to take my needle off. Yeah, I did all that thinking I was going to have, we're going to do dangles, but we're not. Okay, I'm going to pull those tight. I am going to put one side under that thread there. We're going to wrap this one underneath. Sorry, my finger just is not cooperating. Okay, I'm going to pull it tight again, and then we are going to knot it. Oh, ow, I bent my finger and I can't bend it. I have 8 stitches in there. I had an accident the other night that I ended up on my birthday night in the emergency room, which was not fun. I jammed my hand into my metal lanai in my back porch, and I have a cut from here to here, and they had to put 8 stitches in. And they didn't block my finger when she injected it. She only injected into the tissue. So if you were there that night, you would have heard an old lady screaming because I was like, "Ah, it hurt so bad." It really, really hurt. I'm just going to tell you, it was very painful. I felt every one of those 8 stitches. Okay, we are all set. So let's go ahead and just cut these off. Well, let's do one more, and then we'll cut them off because we don't need them. And we have our signature. Our waterfall signature is in there. And now we're going to, and look, it closes, yay. What we're going to do next is we are going to glue this in, and then we will be all set. So we'll have all of the signatures and everything inside of our gorgeous journal. So this is just a glue. We're going to glue right on there. We're going to glue it in. Okay. Now I want to leave, let me think. So I only want to glue the top and the bottom because I want to leave the pocket. So good thing I just remembered as I'm sharing it with you. So we're going to do that. Put some on the bottom. And that's all we're going to have. So that'll be it. That's a pretty good opening. We'll put that right there. Let's move all this out of the way and see how it goes like that, or it goes like that. So we are all set. So I'm going to end this video. We'll pick up on the next video where we will start adding our pockets and all of our ephemera, and we will start doing our Bible study. So please like this video. Please share my videos. I sure hope you're subscribed to my channel. And if you are looking for a Facebook group where you can hang out with other Christian women who love God, love to create beautiful things, and go deeper in God's Word, Rooted in Christ, right on the screen, my creative community is a phenomenal Facebook group. We so invite you to be there. Debbie posts in there, I post in there, and what you get to see is all of the beautiful faith art creations that people make. Till next time.